Good morning. Welcome to Horizon Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Alan Sproat. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am serving as your worship associate this morning. I am joined by our worship leader, Reverend Chris Brothbauer, whose pronouns are they, them, theirs. We are excited to welcome you to our worship service this morning. We're so glad that you have you with us today, whether you're joining us in person or virtually, whether you're here for the first time or whether you've been here for longer than you can remember. Here at Horizon, we welcome people of all faiths and of no faith in particular. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here. Please be our guest after the service for coffee and conversation in Fellowship Hall. As a community, we also welcome the sharing of joys and sorrows and concerns. You are welcome to fill out a joys and sorrows slip on the table near the Welcome Center, on the pockets of the chairs, and on the joys and sorrows table in front of the sanctuary. And or you are welcome to light a candle. This can be done at any time before the service or in service from the beginning through the offertory.
Our call to worship this morning is from Joe Van Roo. Traditionally, Advent is a time of searching for light in the dark. The pagan tradition of Yule is a celebration of the return of the sun, but darkness is as important as light. The cold, dark winter is as important to life as the bright warmth of summer. Darkness is home to entire ecosystems, places where humans cannot survive. Darkness offers us the gift of rest, healing, and hope. It is in the darkness of sleep that our bodies are able to heal and rejuvenate. Darkness offers opportunities for beauty and love to live in our lives. Conception begins in the dark womb. A great prophet was born at night, and the vastness of the universe can only be seen on the darkest of nights. So, on this weekend, which had the darkest of nights, let us welcome the night. Let us give thanks for the life, rest, healing, hope, love, and beauty that are offered to us only in the darkness. Come, beautiful souls, and let us worship as we embrace the darkness together.
Our chalice lighting this morning is from Jacaren Alaoya. We light this chalice here in the darkness of winter as we wait. This temporary space is one filled with prayers to be answered, love to be given and received, miracles to be witnessed. May this light guide us until the light of the sun returns. Please join me in our affirmation, which is printed on the back of your order of service and projected on the screen. Love is the sacrament of our church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, seek knowledge and freedom, to serve together in harmony with the earth. Thus do we covenant together. I invite you to rise in body or spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn, number 221 in the gray hymnal, Light One Candle.
I wanted to begin, before we start our story, by saying thank you to you all, because there were 2 or 3 carloads of donated toys and coats for MetroCrest during their toy and coat drive the past couple of weeks. And all those donations are going to the MetroCrest holiday store, where their clients will be able to come and shop for their families to make a very happy holiday season. And yes, let's give them a round of applause. So I do have a story this morning, and we are going to be reusing real candles. And so I am going to be inviting grown-ups and their children up front so that we can handle the candles together. And anybody who's young at heart would like to help too. So would you please sit in the front row, and we're going to have our story in a second. So, oh my goodness, so today we're going to be talking about darkness and light and things like that, and you're going to help me with things. So this is the season of the Festival of Lights, and each festival has its own symbol of light. And the light comes in all different shapes and sizes. Like, could you help me out? Like, what kind of candles are these?
Birthday candles.
Yeah, birthday candles. Thank you so much. I'm going to put them right down here. And so anyway, there's so many holidays right now about the light, and so let's start with this one, the winter solstice. What's the winter solstice all about? Do you all know? Yes, what's the winter solstice about? Oh, yes, it's the longest night of winter, and it's also the shortest day. And our pagans just celebrated it yesterday because the solstice was yesterday. It's very nice. Let's see, what do I have next? Ooh, this might be a little harder. Can y'all help me? What is this holiday? Do you know? Hanukkah. It is not Hanukkah. Well, it starts the same day. Do you all know what an Advent wreath is? Yes. So what it is our Christian friends, they, 4 Sundays before Christmas, December 25th, they start lighting candles in anticipation of the birth of the baby Jesus. Okay, I have another one. All right, which one's this one again? Hanukkah. Hanukkah, yes, and Hanukkah is the first night of Hanukkah is going to be starting on December 25th. And does anybody know the story of Hanukkah? We almost sang about it in the first song today. So why are there, well, I know there are 9 candles up there. That's because the middle one, you light all the other candles from it. What is it about the 8 candles? Do you all know what the story of Hanukkah? I'm going to give somebody new a chance. Hang on. Go ahead.
So all the 8 candles represent every single day.
Yeah, that's right. They represent 8 days of Hanukkah. And why are there 8 days? Do you know why? Oh, I can tell you. That's because there was oil, only enough for 1 day, but it lasted for 8 days. And that is coming up. And of course, last of all, it really doesn't matter the time of year, but I have another candle or another light for us, our flaming chalice. It doesn't matter the time of year, we can enjoy that flame all year long. And we put a candle in our chalice because the flame is mysterious and beautiful and reminds us of the spirit of love and mystery that some people call God. So first, we're just going to pause a moment and enjoy this light together. There we go. And what if I told you each of you have a light? Yeah? If you can, I would like you to come up front and go ahead and light your candle from here. Can we start with you? And you can come up. There you go. And you can take it. If you could sit close by. There you go. Are you ready? Here's some more. Here we go. You can come up one at a time. And if that's me making all that noise, I'm sorry. Here you go. Oops. There you go. Oh. And I think we have one more person that we can give a candle to. Is that correct? Yeah. All right. So go ahead and look at your flame, and thank you so much for your help. Like I said before, the flame represents the spirit of love and mystery that some people called God. And now I'm going to change the flame because, flames, first of all, I wanted you to see how the flame grew as we shared it. This flame didn't go down. Did you notice that? That it just kept growing and growing and growing? It's a mystery, isn't it? Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to blow out my candle. There it is. And I want you to watch real carefully what happens. Okay, I'm going to hold it way up here. So what happens when the light goes out? Take a look. Do you see that? Do you see the smoke? See, watch the smoke go up. That is the spirit of love and mystery, just going everywhere. And so even when the light goes out, it is still with us. So I'm going to ask you to come up again, and I'm going to put out your flame, and I'd like you to watch the mystery go up into the air. Go ahead. Your flame doesn't want to go out. Here. There you go. I love how careful you're all being. Oh, I know you want to keep your flame. You could blow it out. Can I have my folks over here come? There you go. Yeah, we can see it, especially against the dark. There you go. And I think we have one more flame. Oh, good. We had somebody blow theirs out. Did you watch the smoke? Here you go. There you go. Now your light has been changed, but now the light is in more than one place. And even if you can't see the light anymore, it's still with us, even in the darkness. And darkness, of course, has its own special magic and mystery, too. And even if you can't see the light anymore, please remember it lives within all of us, wherever we go. Well, thank you so much, everyone. This was I was wondering if I should really use real candles, and thank you. You all were such attentive listeners and helpers today. We are going to be going to the blue classroom to make some holiday cookies. And so, as you get sung out, would you drop your candle in here? Thank you so much for listening today. Thank you.
I come on Sunday feeling weary, having worn out the snooze button on my alarm clock. I come on Sunday feeling frightened, having seared my eyes reading the latest news. I come on Sunday feeling burdened, having fretted about my workday worries. But I leave on Sunday service feeling refreshed, having been renewed by the spirit of love in the community that exists here. I leave Sunday service feeling whole, feeling lifted up by the words of righteous challenge. I leave Sunday service feeling energized, ready to continue our fight for peace and justice. This haven, this refuge, this place of worship and wonder exists because we make it so, with our contributions, the gifts of our time, our skills, our food, our love, our laughter, and our money. Please join me in giving so that we may continue to have a place that fortifies and challenges us in these trying and troubled times. Thank you to our members who give and pledge electronically. If you would like to give electronically, you may do so on the Breeze app or online at horizonuu.org/donate. The offering will now be given and received. Thank you for your generosity.
To nature's harmony in our architecture so entwined, like the birds whose patterns grace the sky and carry all who join in love expanding. The message of peace will rise in flight, taking the weight of the world upon its wings, in the oneness of everything. Peace is in the dance of trees who stir before the first breath of wind is yet perceived. Trust in the song becoming one with the dance, and all mysteries can be believed. Songs of lives paths that touch our own are written in the earth, ever giving, and now to maintain the harmony gives to us all love's worth living, for the oneness of everything.
A reading from Bob Smith. There is a certain presence to December, even in places where there is no snow. The distant sun dwindled to an ember, there is something holy in its glow. The Druids knew its power long ago. It promised passage through the longest night, and cold enclosed the moonlight rise like a bow, and shadows shivered in the red firelight. That promise lingers even now, despite pervasive smells of wood smoke and wet clay. The ground is brown here, but the sky is white, dog-eared page of diminished day. The kind assertion that awaits us there disseminates its blessings everywhere.
You might have noticed and heard a few times, maybe this morning, that it gets dark this time of year. In fact, from the summer to the winter solstice, there's less and less daylight every night. But starting on the winter solstice, which was yesterday, December 21st, the days start lengthening again until they reach their zenith on the next summer solstice. At first, it's probably not noticeable unless you're really paying attention and tracking the sunrise and sunset throughout the season. Eventually, sometime in the autumn, it becomes apparent there's less and less darkness, just as in the spring, there is more and more darkness. This week, the sun rose at 7:28 a.m. I looked it up, and it sets at 5:26 p.m. That doesn't leave a lot of daylight to do much. Now, if I was a person fond of conspiracy theories, I might have thought as a kid that parents all around the world got together and strategically timed the Christmas holiday as a salve for children to have something to look forward to at this time of year when they must, by necessity, spend a lot of time indoors. After all, if you're a parent, you might have realized the most dangerous thing this time of year is a bored and stir-crazy kid who doesn't quite have enough of a grasp of astronomy yet to realize they're spending much more time indoors. They just know they don't feel good. Maybe I'm projecting my own childhood just a bit. After all, I grew up in the 1980s when video games, cable television, and personal computers were still in their infancy. I remember annoyed adults sending me outside to get me out from under their hair. They didn't tell me what to do, they just said, "Go outside." But there is some evidence that even in this day, when many people need not leave their homes between work, from home, grocery, and restaurant delivery, and near unlimited in-home entertainment options, our minds function differently during the winter. It's speculated that the lack of light somehow affects many people, including a weaker immune system, lack of energy, weaker bones, and myopia. For many people, the most apparent effect is depression. This time of year, quite a few people start feeling sadder, even if they don't have something to feel sadder about. If you're one of those people, you might feel everything colored until your mood starts lifting in the coming spring. Sunlight is important to human beings, and its absence is keenly felt to many. That's why I find it fascinating that there are 3 holidays in December, and old holidays at that revolve around light. Coincidental or not, it illuminates how ancient people grappled with the absence of the sun and what they did to make it through the winter. Now, normally, if you were here last year, you know that I much prefer to separate these three holidays out and give them each their own service. I feel it's only respectful that each gets their own say, and that works normally, except for this year when all three are in the same week. But it made me think, is there a common theme in all three? The most obvious of these holidays is the winter solstice, one often celebrated as Yule in pagan communities. In many ancient European communities, winter signified famine, scarcity, and death. Surviving to the spring took a bit of luck and was often interpreted as miraculous and a blessing from the gods. Holding festivals and rituals to the goddesses and gods helped these people make sense of natural forces that they could not control and gave some purpose at the height of the winter season. Pagans today continue to celebrate this holiday as a marker of the season and a reminder that the earth continues to spin no matter what else is happening. Many pagans even pray for the sun to come back after they bid it goodbye when the summer solstice comes. The sun is a friend who comes and goes. Similarly, the Jewish festival of lights, Hanukkah, which is on December 25th this year, which is probably painful for those of you who are interfaith, celebrates the miraculous victory of the ancient Jews over their Greek captors and the survival of the Jewish religion. During this season, Jews light a menorah to symbolize the way a single menorah, with only enough oil to keep it lit for a day, somehow remained lit in the temple after the Jews retook it until they could obtain new consecrated oil. Against all odds, it stayed lit for 8 days until the priests could get new supplies. And Christmas celebrates the birth of Jesus, often considered a light in the world by Christians, a source of hope for a new way. A miraculous star led the Magi to visit Jesus, and today many people hang decorative lights on the outside of their houses and on Christmas trees. Definitely modern symbols, probably appropriated from Germanic cultures, but ever present nonetheless throughout the season. Most scholars today agree that the historic Jesus probably wasn't born in December, and its placement was probably yet another appropriation of pagan traditions. But isn't it significant that those who placed the holiday in December recognized that Christianity probably wouldn't be able to get a foothold in Europe if it didn't celebrate this time of year? I like to say that there are a lot of reminders of the importance of light at this time of year. It points to a larger current in human culture that people throughout the ages have recognized that light is something humans not only need, but brings meaning to their lives. After all, even aside from the effects on our bodies, sunlight drives our lives. Without the sun, if you ignore the fact that we wouldn't be able to live long, we also wouldn't have the variety of food we have, especially fruits and vegetables, and it would be difficult to build new houses and other buildings. There's a reason when I was in Michigan that the locals often referred to their extremely short spring and summer as construction season. And it takes a lot of warmth of some sort to make it through the cold temperatures some parts of the world experience this time of year. Even sports and activities that humans have created to get through the winter, such as skiing and snowboarding, require a person to bundle up in some extremely warm clothing to be safe from frostbite. I recently saw an ad for blue jeans where they had someone skiing wearing blue jeans, and my first thought was to turn to Calvin and say, that person's not having a good time. That's why I want to celebrate light this morning and look at what it has to teach us about making meaning in our lives. And what can this contrast between light and dark teach us about how to live our lives in times that seem increasingly volatile and divisive? In these times when the new year brings anxiety for many, why is it important to be present in the holiday season? And please join me in our doxology. You'll find the words projected behind me. We now take time to honor the sorrows and joys of this community, knowing that we are all interconnected and that what affects one affects us all. Samantha, Laurel Adams' daughter, had surgery for a torn ACL, but she's doing fine. We light a candle for all those who are already on the road and will be on the road or in the air in the next few days. And we light one more candle this morning to honor all the sorrows and joys which have gone unspoken and reside only in our hearts. Please join me in the spirit of prayer or meditation in whatever way feels right with these words from Aaron Payson. Oh, beloved, can it be that another year has passed? Wasn't it just yesterday when we heard such familiar music? When these well-worn stories awakened us from our post-harvest slumber? Wasn't it only weeks ago when we last reminisced about seasons past? When life seemed easier, when the season was so full of wonder and glorious once? Didn't we converse then about how much there was still to do and how short the daylight hours had become? Wasn't it we who sat together and sipped warm cider, or was it hot chocolate, and laughed as we shared again in the memories of youth that gleam once again from our eyes? Or was it coffee and ruminations about a world gone mad? And hadn't we just made the promise that a year hence we'd be farther along than we were and far more accomplished in the doing, those perpetually elusive resolutions that prove us kin in effort and siblings in spirit? Oh, beloved, can it be that we are here again? How incredible, how miraculous, how excellent. So let us then give thanks for this heartfelt return, you who have been so much a part of each other's lives, whose presence means fullness of joy and love, you who are such a gift. Huzzah! Let old stories be shared again with new insight, and new adventures add spice to the routines of our existence. Let life's milestones mark for us the forward path to possibilities yet imagined, and our trials and tribulations give us deeper appreciation for blessings bestowed. The world with its deep challenges is needful of this, of communities of memory and hope, of a people of courage with love deep enough to speak truth to power, with humility rich enough to make us mindful of the privileges we have not earned, and with a conscience broad enough to demand those rights that ought to be accorded to all people. Let the light we kindle spark the awakening that is ours to embody. Let the truth we seek be the life we lead and the love we share. Its essence of that peace for which we yearn. Blessed be. I'd like to invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our next hymn, number 251 in the gray hymnal, Silent Night, Holy Night.
A reading from Gwen Matthews. As December opens up before us, we welcome in the gift of reflection. We turn toward our holiday celebrations and search for common threads of meaning. We begin with Yule, the winter solstice, and we are invited to explore duality, cycles, and seasons, and to witness the holly king being overcome by the oak king. Yule reminds us that we all partake in the miracle of renewal. Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights, commemorates a time of miracles when the faith of the Jewish people sustained them to reclaim their holy temple and keep the light of the menorah burning for 8 days. Christmas, the celebration of Jesus' humble birth in a manger, offers us to revisit the miracle of birth and the desire to find saviors to heal the scars of humanity. Here in our church, you are just as much of a holiday miracle as the turning of the earth, as persistence and dedication to a faith, as the creation of each new life. We see the love you give to others, the space you create to hold one another's joys and sorrows, and the generosity and spirit you entrust to this community. You are the holiday miracle. This community is one of miracle makers.
Earlier this month, I spoke about my experiences with Zen and how I initially came to the practice of meditation looking for ways to banish thoughts, emotions, and habits I deemed bad or evil or dark. This was a habit I picked up from my fundamentalist Christian days when I learned to be ever vigilant to the possibility that sin might find me. In fact, this sort of thinking is on the rise in our culture. The idea that sin and even demons can enter you without your consent. News pundit Tucker Carlson recently made headlines for producing a documentary in which he claimed that a demon attacked him in bed while he slept and even left marks on the side of his chest. Despite the fact that the experiences he relayed sounded suspiciously like sleep paralysis, a sleep disorder in which people wake up unable to move and often have frightening hallucinations. And despite the fact that he was in bed with 4 dogs who might have made the marks on his side, Carlson believed he was the victim of a demon seeking to do him harm. It's easy to snicker about this, but there's a lot of people around us who believe this. Although these beliefs have been around a long time, they are finding their way into mainstream Christian conversations in a way that suggests that a good portion of the population believes there are evil forces out there seeking to hurt them at any opportunity. There's a certain underpinning to this that sees the universe as divided into 2 parts, the realm of light and the realm of darkness. And from an early age, we hear metaphors that frame light as good and darkness as bad or evil. Many children fear the dark, but a nightlight will quell their fears. Or the saying popular on social media right now, what happens in the dark will be brought to the light. You might even hear a person who brings a positive spin to a negative situation referred to as a beacon of light in a dark world. These are just a few of the ways that the binary is set up, that light equals good and darkness equals bad. And there are dozens more examples I could have given. So over the years, this dichotomy has ingrained in me so much that it's difficult today to not think in these terms. But even leaving aside the racial implications some social justice scholars have pointed out, I think there's a lot of reason to want to break this binary down. It's true that the December holidays focus on light and the sun, but I want to argue they do so not to contrast with the dark, but to show that without one, the other would not be possible. The most obvious example of this is the solstices. If the earth didn't rotate around the sun, then the sun could never be at its highest and lowest points in our sky in the summer and winter. If you're bemoaning these temperatures and hoping that summer gets here soon, remember that as the solar system exists today, summer could not exist without the winter. The darkness and the light need each other, and many pagans do not see either as forces to be feared, but to be understood. Just so in Christmas, Jesus comes in as the light of the world, as he refers to himself later on in the gospel, not to deny that darkness exists, but as a contrast, a way to make sense of it. If darkness did not exist, Jesus would not have needed to come to the world. And on Hanukkah, the miraculous oil is a reminder of how the light exists as a contrast to the dark that could have enveloped the Jewish people. 3 different stories, 3 different ways of understanding the relationship between light and dark. I think there is some truth in all 3, and they point to a truth mystics have long understood. Opposites exist because of each other. Underneath, there is a unity of opposites, in these opposites. This is the meaning of the Chinese yin-yang symbol. The universe would be radically different without either extreme. To be present in the summer, in the season, is to recognize the need to be present to both elements in the world. Darkness is not a demon ready to pounce on you at any second and leave marks suspiciously like your dog. It is a part of the sacred fabric of existence. And y'all know, if we wanted to, we could sit here and list all the things that are bad during the summer, especially on those days when the temperature gets up to 110 degrees. I recognize that what I'm suggesting is a tall order, especially in this day and age. Many of you are anxious because of unknowns about what the new year will bring, either personally or on a wider human scale. Some wonder what shape the country will be in as a new presidential term begins. As climate change and economic and social injustice continue to be the norm rather than the exception, there's no end of sorrows and suffering that I could name as things on our mind this year, and reasons some might not be sympathetic to embracing the dark. But that is not the nature of the universe. It's the way it is, and it doesn't mean we have to like it. In fact, we can work to change it. But the holidays can remind us, as Gwen Matthews puts it in our second reading this morning, to look for ways to heal the scars of humanity. It reminds us of the interdependence of light and dark, that neither is inherently good or bad. They are simply part of the human experience, and the task of the holidays is to look for ways to embrace this reality. The holidays then can be more than just a commercial or even a family affair. They can be a reminder bell that there's more out there I'm not seeing. This is the hope that even as one extreme seems to rule, the other must come back eventually. Light and dark eventually yield for one another, for neither can exist independently. If we are in a time of darkness, as many feel right now, light must exist as well, even as it's hard to find. As we continue to move through uncertain times, don't be surprised if I ask you this. What else is here, just under the surface? Because as Gwen Matthews reminds us, there are communities of hope that can offer comfort and perspective when life seems unbearable. Our church is one such place, and as we move through the end of the year into another, may we ever be the place that offers refuge to people in their life struggles, no matter the season of light and dark. This is my last sermon of 2024. I'm sure Eileen's service next week will be great, but I'm not preaching at it next week. I've asked myself if there's something else I want to say before I end. And I don't know that there's much more I can say except this. Over the last year and a half of being a part of this community, I have witnessed it coming together over and over and over again to meet whatever challenges come without fear, without reservation, and with much hope. It is my belief that no matter what 2025 brings, this church and its people are ready to meet it. And on the days that might seem unbearable, those are the days that we'll be with one another, to hold each other on the days when we can't seem to bear it. Because that's the meaning of beloved community. That when one of the extremes seems to dominate, we help those who are overwhelmed until the other extreme can come back around. May it be so.
We extinguish this flame, but not our commitment to welcome radically, love boldly, grow spiritually, and serve courageously. This we do because we envision a beloved community filled with compassion, helping all to thrive in a just world. I would like to invite you to rise in body or spirit and join us in singing our closing hymn, 235 in the gray hymnal, Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly.
Our benediction is by Gregory Jones. On this, the longest night of the year, we are warmed by the certain knowledge that tomorrow will welcome more night than today, as it has for eons. For billions of years, the coming of light brings life. May we be awed by the great miracles of light and life, and faithfully nurture the mystery and magic of wonder. Amen. Blessed be, and my friends, happy solstice, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and go in peace.